So what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dominic Rich, and if you're new around here, consider hitting the subscribe button because I'll be covering the UEFA Champions League all season long. Also, if you're interested in copying your own personalized FIFA Ultimate Team card, visit cardsplug.com/dominicrichfc to get yourself one. Use the coupon code dominicrichfc to get 5% off. There may be some other discounts on the website, but guys, enough with that. I'm here to talk about Group G, the group of life. The group of life, because I do think it's the easiest group and the hardest group to predict. Well, I should not say the easiest group. I should just say it's the hardest group to predict out of all the 8 groups. The 4 teams in Group G are as follows. Zenit St. Petersburg of Russia, they were last season's Russian Premier League champions. Benfica of Portugal, last season's Liga NOS champs. Olympique Lyonnais of France, or we could say Lyon, they came 3rd last season in Ligue 1 and benefited from Chelsea placing 3rd in the Premier League and also winning the Europa League. And then there's RB Leipzig of Germany. They placed 3rd in last season's German Bundesliga. So let's first start with Zenit St. Petersburg, who are currently managed by the 43-year-old former PSG, CSKA Moscow, and Zenit St. Petersburg midfielder Sergei Semak. Semak was capped 65 times by Russia, and after hanging up his playing career, he began his managerial duties with Zenit St. Petersburg as their assistant in 2013. He then temporarily took over as caretaker manager the following year. From 2014 to 2016, he served as the assistant coach of the Russian national team, then spent 1 season with the Russian club UEFA before beginning his tenure with Zenit in 2018. His only managerial honor is winning the Russian league last season with Zenit to take them back to the Champions League. As for the Champions League highlights, the 5-time Russian champs first took part in the European Cup in the 84-85 season. After winning the Europa League in 2008, Zenit St. Petersburg returned to Europe's elite competition for the first time in 24 years. Their best UCL performances came in the 11-12, the 13-14, and the 15-16 seasons when they made it to the round of 16. After going MIA from the tournament for the last 3 years, Zenit St. Petersburg are back to prove that they belong. And by the way, this would be the 4th time they would meet Benfica in the UCL this current decade. So you know those games are gonna be good. Key players for Zenit includes their captain Branislav Ivanovic, and he brings a wealth of experience to the table. Russian legend Yuri Zhirkov is still amongst the boys. Artem Zuba and Sardar Azmoun are currently in prime form. And Yaroslav Rakitsky, formerly of Shakhtar Donetsk, brings a whole lot of steel to their backline. Key transfers for Zenit includes bringing the very injury-prone Malcolm from Barcelona for a club record 40 million euros. And Malcolm is currently injured as we speak. It definitely seems like Zenit loves to take a gamble. They also brought in Brazilian left-back Douglas Santos from Hamburg. He can't be that good, right? And right-back Vyacheslav Karavayev from Vitesse. Zenit spent a total of 66 million euros. Well, they spent the money, but did they spend it right? Outgoing players includes Luis Neto to Sporting CP on a free. Alexander Kokorin was banned. Like, goddamn, what a wasted talent. And Claudio Marchisio, the Italian veteran, also left the club. Zenit made a total of 16 million euros. So let's now move on to Benfica, who are currently managed by the 43-year-old Portuguese Bruno Lage. Not having much of a playing career, he has been mainly an assistant and a youth development coach in Portugal and England. Bruno Lage was appointed Benfica's boss midway through last season and ensured that the Portuguese Giants finished ahead of their league rivals Porto to make it back to the Champions League. This makes Benfica the only Portuguese team in this season's Champions League group stage after both Porto and Sporting failed to make the cut. Bruno Lage was so impressive last season that he was named Coach of the Year. So there's very little doubt that he is the right man for the job. So let's talk a bit about Benfica's Champions League highlights. The 37-time Portuguese champs were the first Portuguese team to make the European Cup final and the first to win it when they did so consecutively in 1961 and 1962. This feat was achieved under their late Hungarian manager Bela Gutmann. Bela Gutmann famously cursed the Portuguese club when he left in 1962 after a pay dispute. Well, it's all about money? Not in 100 years from now will Benfica be European champions. And remarkably, Benfica has failed to win a major European title ever since. They have been on the losing end of 5 European Cup and Champions League finals, and most recently back-to-back Europa League finals. In terms of recent performances, Benfica reached the round of 16 in the 2015-16 season. And in last season's Champions League, they failed to advance from their group. So is this the year when Benfica finally breaks the curse of Bela Gutman? Well, according to my math, they still have 42 years to go. Key players for Benfica includes Andre Almeida and Jardel, who are the only 2 survivors from their run to back-to-back Europa League finals. There's also the highly rated centre-back Ruben Dias, the highly sorted young midfielder Florentino, Haris Seferovic, Pizzi, Alejandro Grimaldo, and Rafa Silva all remain key players for the Eagles. As for key players brought into the club, they include Raúl de Tomas from Real Madrid for 20 million euros. He couldn't really squeeze Karim Benzema out of the 11, but he definitely impressed while out on loan. I think he will be able to shine in this Benfica team. They also brought in Carlos Vinicius, the centre forward from Napoli. Benfica spent a total of 44 million euros. As we all should know, Benfica are not the big spending club. They buy cheap and they basically they flip their players. Buy cheap and sell for 10 times what they bought them for. For the players who left the club, they include João Felix to Atletico Madrid for a sum of 126 million euros. Well, Benfica definitely cashed in. That's what Benfica does best. The young man has hit the ground running at the Wanda Metropolitano, and he definitely will be missed by Benfica. They also sold the on loan Raúl Jimenez to Wolves for 38 million euros. Andre Carrillo, Eduardo Salvio, and Luka Jovic all left the club on permanent deals, while their veteran striker Jonas finally retired. Benfica made a total of 192 million euros, and I think they are one of the clubs that made the most money during the summer. But everyone knows Benfica will forever sell their best players, so it's really hard to be optimistic about their Champions League chances. So now let's move on to Olympique Lyon. They are currently managed by the 47-year-old Brazilian left-back Silvinho. During his playing career, he represented Man City, Arsenal, and won the Champions League twice with Barcelona. After hanging up his boots in 2011, Silvinho ventured into coaching. He has been an assistant for Cruzeiro, Inter Milan, and the Brazil national team. At the end of last season, Silvinho began his first managerial stint at Lyon, replacing the outgoing Bruno Genesio. So let's talk a bit about Lyon's Champions League highlights. Having won all of their Ligue 1 titles this century, Olympique Lyonnais has been regulars in Europe's elite competition. But with only one French team ever winning the Champions League, Lyon joins the long list of UCL underachievers. Their UCL highlight came last decade when they made 3 consecutive runs to the quarterfinals, followed by 3 round of 16 appearances, which all led up to their best ever Champions League performance, a semi-final run in 2010. In the current decade dominated by PSG, Lyon's UCL form has seemingly regressed, but they are out to change all that this season. Key players for Olympique Lyon includes Anthony Lopez. Their youth product will be very key in goal. And yeah, I said their youth product. He has been there since he was very young. There's also the Dutchman Memphis Depay, who has been ripping it up for his national team, but he needs to mirror those performances for his club. And then there's the former Celtic striker Moussa Dembele, who has been scoring them for fun in Ligue 1. But would he be able to replicate this form against more quality oppositions? Centre-backs Jason Denayer and Marcelo will also be key. Important transfers for Olympique Lyon includes the acquisition of Jeff Ren Adelaide from Angers for 25 million euros. He was a former Arsenal player, which makes him an Arsenal reject. What's going on with all these Arsenal rejects just becoming really good players? Talking about Serge Gnabry, Jeffrey Adelaide, we have, who else? The list goes on. There's also Joachim Anderson, the highly rated centre-back from Sampdoria. They also brought in the Brazilian midfielder Thiago Mendes from Lille, and the young promising left-back Youssouf Kone, also from Lille. Damn, Lille is getting seriously, I can't use the word, but you know what I'm talking about. As for the players leaving the club, they include Tanguy Ndombele to Tottenham Hotspur on a record 60 million euros. Also, their highly rated left-back Ferland Mendy to Real Madrid for 48 million. And not to forget their former captain and talisman Nabil Fekir to Real Betis for a paltry 20 million. Like, how did he go for so cheap? I guess his injury record isn't so convincing, you know? So with this largely unproven squad, could Olympique Lyon make a deep run in this season's Champions League? Well, we shall see pretty soon. And now time for Red Bull, Rasenballsport Leipzig. They're currently managed by the very youthful Julian Nagelsmann. He is only 32 years old. Like, guys, could you believe that? After retiring from football at the tender age of 20, Nagelsmann began his career as a scout for Augsburg. He then spent some time working as an assistant and as a youth coach before getting his big break with Hoffenheim in 2016. During his time at Hoffenheim, the young manager took the club to their best ever league finishes. They placed fourth in the 2016-17 season, and I could remember them playing Liverpool in the UCL playoffs and getting smashed. And then the following season, they placed third in the Bundesliga to make their first ever Champions League appearance. Having had a pre-contract agreement with RB Leipzig, Nagelsmann took up the post at the beginning of this season. So let's talk a bit about RB Leipzig's UCL highlights. Despite only making their Bundesliga top flight debut in 2016, RB Leipzig are coming back for their second group stage appearance. In their solitary UCL season, they placed third in their group and went into the Europa League. And I must say that this RB Leipzig team under Julian Nagelsmann is here to prove that they belong. Key players for RB Leipzig includes their German international striker Timo Werner. He has already hit the ground running this season with 5 league goals. There's also the Swedish international Emil Forsberg, who will provide quality in the middle of the field. There's also the Austrian international Marcel Sabitzer, who has started the season very well. Fullbacks Marcel Halstenberg and Lucas Klosterman are now both German internationals. Yusuf Poulsen, Willy Orban, Ibrahima Konate and Dayot Upamecano will all be important players for this very stacked up Leipzig squad. Key transfers includes left winger Ademola Lookman from Everton, central midfielder Christopher Nkunku from PSG, midfielder Hannes Wolf from Red Bull Salzburg, Patrick Schick on loan from Roma, and Ethan Ampadu on loan from Chelsea. For the outgoing players, Bruma left for PSV and Jean-Kevin Augustin went to Monaco on loan. They made a total of 19 million euros. So pretty much good business done by RB Leipzig, bringing in some very good players and letting go the players who are not so happy. So now it's time to make my predictions for the group of life. This is the hardest group to predict, guys. It was so difficult. The other groups, I was like, okay, yeah. But this group, it's like, oh my God, guys, I had to take a long time to think here. So I think I might actually get these wrong, like really wrong, like really off. But I have to give my prediction, so here it is. I'm not gonna be nice here either. I'm not here to be nice. So 4th place, guys. 4th place, I'm gonna go with Benfica. The fact that they continue to sell all their best players, they're gonna feel the brunt of that. They still have some very good players in the squad, the likes of Pizzi, the likes of Seferovic, Rafa Silva, who I like a lot. In the back, they still have Ruben Diaz there. You know, the club still has quality players there. But when you continue to sell your talisman, you're not showing intent here. You're not showing like you're a serious club. Like, the fans must be frustrated here, because the fans are not benefiting from the money. You know, they get to see a lot of new players every season, but that's about it. If they have one great season, you can 100% guarantee the next season isn't going to be so great because they will sell their best players. You're talking about guys like Bernardo Silva, Edison was there, Nemanja Matic used to play for, Lindelof, João Felix. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And I'm not a Benfica fan, but it frustrates me too, because I know how good this club could be. But maybe the Portuguese league is not big enough to hold these very, very, very talented players. So I'm going to go for Benfica and Bruno Lage to come in fourth. But guys, this is only my prediction. They could top the group, they could come in second or even third. This is the group of life. Anything is possible in this group, just like the group of death. I'm gonna go for Olympic Lyon. I think Olympic Lyon, letting go Tanguy Ndombele there, you know, he's gonna leave a big gaping hole in their midfield. Ferland Mendy, these guys were instrumental in them actually doing well last season and, you know, qualifying for the Champions League by coming in third in Ligue 1. But with the likes of Memphis, who doesn't really perform so well for club like he does for country, you have Moussa Dembele, who I don't know. I have doubts over him replicating his league form in the Champions League. And with Nabil Fekir leaving, guys, the squad is filled with unproven players. And I'm not going to say they can top this group or even come in second. But from what I've seen with Olympic Lyon, they're just the kind of team to you know, they're so mercurial. They're so mercurial that it's hard to just wrap your head around this team. So, Silvinho in his first season in the Champions League, first year in charge as well, it's going to be very difficult for the Brazilians. So, I'm going to go for Lyon to come in third here. Who's going to come in second and go on to the round of 16 in my opinion? I'm going to go for the Russian team Zenit St. Petersburg. It's very difficult traveling to Russia, so the away teams are already at a disadvantage. But I have seen teams go to Russia and completely destroy the home teams. So that's not really a major factor, but it does play into, you know, it does help the Russian teams because of the traveling, the weather and everything. So Zenit though, they do have quality in their team. Artem Zuba has been in prime form since the 2018 World Cup. Sada Azmoun, the Iranian international, we know what he can do. And with the likes of bringing in Malcolm, who is a very talented player, if he can stay fit, definitely, I think Zenit could make a deep run. Ivanovic, Rakitsky, Zhirkov, all these guys in the team provides the necessary backbone that Zenit needs. So I'm going to go for Zenit St. Petersburg to come in second. And to top the group, a big surprise, Julian Nagelsmann's RB Leipzig. Rasenballsport Leipzig, they're going to top the group. I like what I see in this Leipzig team. When you look through the squad, oh my God, guys, this squad is super stacked up. It's super stacked up and the players are really, really solid. Their backline is good. They have a very decent goalkeeper. I'm not going to try to say his name, Gulashki, I think. And Timo Werner up top. Yusuf Poulsen. In the middle of the field, Marcel Sabitzer. Emil Forsberg. And I like that Forsberg has stuck with RB Leipzig. He was rumored to be moving to Arsenal and other clubs. Thank God you didn't go to Arsenal. You would have probably been done by now. But they have some good players. And the business that they do, bringing in the likes of Nkunku, who I think is a very talented player from PSG. Ethan Ampadu on loan. Ademola Lookman wasn't getting the game time over there at Everton. He was there on loan before. He's a very, very talented player. And the list goes on and on and on. Their fullbacks, you know, playing for the German national team in the last international break there. Willie Orban. You know, guys, the team is good. I do believe this team has what it takes to top this group. And also what they're doing in the German Bundesliga, I think they're currently number 1 in the league. They picked up a 1-1 draw against Bayern Munich in their last game. This team is one to keep an eye on. Ever since they were promoted to the Bundesliga, they have been impressive. They're one of the only teams who has seriously challenged or give Bayern Munich a scare in the last few seasons for the Bundesliga title. And a lot of people may say that they're a plastic club, they are backed by Red Bull and all, but guys, still, you know what I mean? Come on, it's the reality of things here. We just have to accept it. It's just the way things are in modern day football. We just have to accept it. They have the money, but I don't think they have splashed the cash like they have gone crazy like a lot of teams have done. Like their transfer, you know, record is not a big sum. And I do think they have the money and capabilities of bringing in players for 60 and 70 and 80 million. But That's not the way they do things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go for Red Bull Salzburg to top this group. Guys, the group of life, Group G. What are your predictions? Please let me know in the comment section down below. If you're new around here, consider hitting a subscribe button. Smash the thumbs up button. Visit cardsplug.com/dominicrichfc. Buy a card, put it up on your wall. Gift it. Christmas is coming up. It will do the channel a huge favor because every time you buy a card, I get, you know, a nice slice of the proceeds. Well, it ain't so nice, but it will add up. It will add up if, you know, like multiplicity. But you guys get the point. You guys get the point. It has been very fun doing this series. I have one video to go, so let me get to it, okay? So guys, from your boy Dominic Rich, until next time, peace out. Rich Squad. I hope the Benfica fans don't, you know, want to bite my head off. Sorry, Bruno Singer, but good luck to your team.